This conference will now be recorded.
Can any one of you please confirm whether my voice is audible or not now?
Yes, we hear you.
Thank you. So, um, welcome to the load runner session. If you know, so yesterday we had the initial demo session where we covered uh, what is a performance testing, on a high level, and also we have seen some small recording example, like how can we record using one of the component called Vugen. And at the same time, we have also learned about the load runner architecture, okay, where we had different components within the architecture like load generators, Vugen, controller, or performance center, and analysis component, right? So we will continue with today's session in understanding about the performance testing, okay, and what are the terms that are actually a part of this performance testing definition, and also what are the different types of performance testing. So, if you are generally working on any performance testing project, what kind of performance testing that we might be working on, like there are different types of performance testing, right? So what are the frequent tests that we actually do in our performance testing projects, right? So we'll begin with the performance testing concept again. So let's say that there is a bank application, okay, and what is a peak time of a bank? Let's say around 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. in the morning, right? So let's assume that around 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. in the morning, let's say that 100 people are accessing the bank application. 100 people are accessing the bank application online. So that here I have mentioned user 1, user 2, user 3, so on till user 100, right? So these users who are accessing the bank application, okay, at the peak time, okay, and all these users are accessed or logged in simultaneously, or called concurrent users, okay. So in performance testing terminology, so these users who logged in simultaneously are called concurrent users. So what are we testing here? How the bank application is responding with the load of 100 users, right? So how the bank application is responding with the load of 100 users, that is what we are testing, okay. And if something goes wrong, or let's say that if all the transactions are all the transactions or all the actions that we are performing on the bank application are responding well, like like within 2 seconds or 3 seconds, so that's fine. If something is not responding as expected, like if something is responding beyond 5 seconds, or let's say or 10 seconds or 20 seconds or more than that, then there might be an issue which we have to look into it. Okay. So on a high level, on the performance testing is all about determining how the application is responding, application is responding under some load. What is the load? The number of users, okay, the number of users, right? So how the application is responding under some load, or you can say with large number of users, how the application is responding with large number of users. So that is what performance testing is all about, okay. And when we have to address the issue, initially, if you have to see the response times, like how the application is responding. If something is not responding within 2-3 seconds within the application, if any functionality is not responding within 2-3 seconds in the application, you have to address, and you have to find out the root cause, like what could be the issue. So we will see the architecture, like the architecture details and all in tomorrow's session. But in today's session, we will discuss about the performance testing um, definition now, the actual kind of textbook definition kind of thing now, and then later on we'll see different types of performance testing as well. If you go to any interview, they will definitely not ask you what is performance testing definition. 99.9%, in fact I can tell you, nobody will ask you what is performance testing, right? Obviously if you are a performance testing experienced resource, so definitely they'll expect you to know, or they'll expect you that you might have already worked on performance testing, so they'll definitely not pose this question. But however, as a performance tester we should know what is that definition, exact definition, and what are the different terms that are added here, like what are the different words that are included in this definition. So if you see a performance testing, or in shortcut we have written PT is testing an application for speed, stability and scalability in production like environment under virtual user load to meet non-functional requirements. This definition looks a little bit confusing in the initial now, but later on you will understand. So why it looks confusing is the because of the words that are included here, like the words like speed, stability, scalability, or you can say production like environment, or you can say virtual user load or non-functional requirements. These terms we haven't discussed much, right? These terms we haven't discussed much. And and uh, uh, and if you are coming from non-IT background, don't worry, we'll have some additional classes to understand more about what is performance testing all about, and what are the different terms and terminologies that we might use going forward as well. We'll have additional sessions for those. So now we'll understand the terms that are discussed here, like the speed, and the stability, and the scalability, and this production like environment, and this non-functional requirements. We'll understand these words first, and then we'll discuss the types of performance testing. Okay, so quickly, um, so performance testing is measured using speed. Okay, first we'll discuss about speed. So speed is nothing but how fast the application is responding to your request with expected or current load. With expected or current load. So let's say that your expected load is let's say 500 users. Let's say that your expected load is 500 users. Then you you have to test your application, like how it is responding with 500 users. Okay, in other words, the response time should be less than SLA. What do you mean by SLA? The service level agreement. Okay, so initially the client will tell you that, hey, my application should respond well, and all the transactions or all the actions that we are
Huh?
going to perform
Then it will.
should be less than 2 seconds.
Yes,
Should
I
be
know.
less than
Let's join it now.
2 seconds. 1 second, guys. uh,
Let's start.
yeah, sorry for that. Okay. um, Okay. So how fast speed is all about how fast the application is responding to your request with expected or current load. In other words, response time should be less than SLA, right? So the response, what is the industry standard? The yesterday we discussed, right? The industry standard, the response time is 2 seconds. However, it can vary from project to project. In some of the projects, it can be like 3 to 5 seconds as well. Okay, so initially, like few years ago, like around 15, I cannot say the exact number, but let's say like 15-20 years ago, performance testing was more about measuring the application in terms of speed. In terms of speed, now uh, now now the things are changing, like the requirements are changing, and and we have seen like applications the way the applications are designed, or are expected to test with huge number of users. So things are changing now. Now if you see, the performance testing is not only measured in terms of speed, but also in terms of stability and scalability. So what do you mean by stability? Stability, on a high level, it means that the performance should not degrade even after using the application for a long time. So what do you mean by this? So if you are using your application, let's say you have started your test now. You have started your performance test now, And even if you run for 1 day or 5 hours or 8 hours, the performance should not degrade. Okay, or if you're using the application for long time or long duration, let's say you're continuously using your application for 4 or 5 hours, the performance should not degrade. The performance should not degrade. Like how the application was responding in the initial 1 hour, okay, the application should respond in the same way throughout the test, or throughout the duration. Okay, so that is what the stability means. Okay, and then we have something called scalability, which means that the application's ability to handle increasing user without performance degradation. So what do you mean by this? So if you are currently testing with let's say if you are currently have a user base of 100, if you are about to test an application with 100 users now, keeping future growth in mind or future business in mind, your application users might increase by 100%. Let's say by 100% instance, the user might get doubled, okay, in the next 6 months or 1 year. So what you have to do, you have to test your application, with 200 users now itself. Keeping the future growth in mind, you have to test your application with future growth, the future growth, then a bigger number now itself. Okay, so now the performance testing is measured using speed, stability, and scalability. Speed, stability, and scalability. Now, remember these three words: speed, stability, and scalability. I will relate these three words with different types of performance testing in some time now. Okay, remember these three words: speed, stability, and scalability. Okay, now one more thing. Now, because we have discussed about the performance testing definition, these three words: speed, stability, and scalability, we'll see about this particular term called production like environment. What do you mean by production like environment? So if you come back to this slide, just observe this diagram, and if you're not understanding, no need to worry, we have detailed sessions coming up again. Okay, so if you are coming from non-IT background also, no need to worry, we have some additional sessions coming up. So if you see production like environment, this is a term that is present in the definition: production like environment. What do you mean by this? How can we understand this particular term, production like environment? So if you are testing, and if you have an application already in live which is being used by so many users, so what is the infrastructure there in live? What is the infrastructure? What are the servers that you have used? How many servers are there in production or in live? Okay, you are understanding the term in production or in live. When I say in live or in production, that means that application is already being used by end user, being being used by end user. That means the end user is already using that application or working on that application. So what is the infrastructure? What is the configuration, or what is the hardware, and what are the different types of servers? What is its configuration in production or in live? You have to, that particular configuration or that particular infrastructure should be same in the performance testing environment also. Like in that, before going to live, whatever that performance testing will be doing, that environment should be similar to production. What do you mean by production? That is a live, where the end user will test. Okay, where the end user will work. Okay, now our performance testing environment should be same as production environment. That means whatever may be the configuration, whatever may be the different types of servers that are in place in production, the same type of configuration should be present in the performance testing environment. That wherever we are testing before going live, that testing environment should also be similar to the production environment. That means okay, if there are two servers in production, you should also have two servers. You should also have two servers. Okay, so we'll discuss about what is a server and what is its architecture and all those things in tomorrow's session. So on a high level, what I can tell you tomorrow is, whatever the configuration that is present in production or live, the same configuration should be present in the performance testing environment. Okay, so if you have two app servers in production like this, you should also have two app servers in the performance testing environment. If you have 1 DB server in production, you should also have 1 DB server in performance testing environment. Okay, so I'll just give you on a high level information of what is this DB server, what is this app server and all about. DB server is all about managing data. Like if I can give an example of DB, the database server, I can give you an example of Oracle, SQL Server, right? So these are some of the examples of database servers. So why these database servers are in place? To handle or to manage the application data. Okay, so now what is this app server or the application server? This app server or application server is a place where all the business logic resides or the application code resides. The developer writes some code, right? The developer writes some code, and the code that code will be placed in this application server. The entire logic will be handled here. How the application should respond. Okay, if a user clicks on a button in the front end, how the application should respond, or what is the response it should get. So everything will be handled in the application server, the entire business logic. Okay, so that is and examples you can say it as Apache, Tomcat, and WebSphere, WebLogic. So there are different application servers. Okay, so we'll discuss in detail about what is a server and what is its architecture in tomorrow's session. And this and before going to this load balancer, I'll tell you what is this web server. Web server is the responsibility of web server is to handle handle the web data. Okay, or it is used used to display that HTML data. Okay, that static and web content on the UI. Like in the browser, you are seeing all the HTML content, right? So if you launch an application or if you log into an application, you are seeing some your application content, right? So this web server is responsible to in displaying that content. Okay, in handling that content. And then what is this client? Client is nothing but the browser from where we are clicking a button or selecting a radio button or clicking a link or whatever it is. So what is this load balancer? So I'll just give you one short example. Let's say that you are testing the application with 1,000 users. You are testing an application with 1,000 users. So 1,000 users, if they click a button in one go, okay, let's say that they are clicking a button. So all the requests will come like this, right? Complete requests will come in this flow. And before going to, and let's say that if there are two app servers, if there are two application server instances, okay, uh, this the job of this load balancer or the role of this load balancer is to equally distribute the load to these two app servers. To equally distribute this load to these two app servers. Okay, if 1,000 requests are coming from the browser, okay, so 500 should be sent to this and 500 should be sent to this. Why? If not, if all the 1,000 requests are sent to this server, this will be idle and unnecessarily this will be overburdened, right? So there should be some load balancer mechanism where the load will be equally distributed. Okay, so in tomorrow's session we'll discuss in detail about what is server and all those things. For time being, what you understand is whatever the configuration, whatever the architecture you have, whatever the configuration you have in production or in live, the same architecture or the configuration you should have in the performance testing environment. Okay, so that's how it is. So if you see this is production like environment, the performance testing environment should also be something exactly similar to this. Why these two diagrams are same? Because the configuration should be same in live and in the performance testing environment. Okay, so if the configurations are not same, then the whatever the performance testing you might be doing, the results which you or the observations which you provide might not be accurate or might not be in sync with production, might not be in sync with production. So that's the reason the production environment should always be or the performance testing environment should always be similar to the production environment. Okay, so just remember this point. So both the environment should be have the same configuration, same servers. Okay, and all those things. So this one point is very important. And then now if you see this definition again quickly, we have discussed about speed, stability, scalability, production like environment. Now we will quickly go back to I will quickly go back and discuss about types of performance testing now. Okay, so generally, there are different types of performance testing. Okay, these are the most important ones, like load test, stress test, endurance test, scalability test, and volume test to understand. Okay, so for any performance tester to begin with, we have to understand these types of tests. So in any performance testing projects, okay, not every project will test all these types of tests. Okay, but this load test, this endurance test, this scalability test is the most frequent ones, which we work on. Okay, this stress test is volume test, and there are some other tests like failover tests and all those things. They are very, rarely tested. They are very rarely tested. Okay, but we'll discuss all these five now quickly and understand what is this load test, stress test, endurance test, scalability test, and volume test. When we exactly perform these types of tests, okay, and how and what is its importance? Okay, why a load test, why stress test, and all those things. So if you see a load test, generally load test is all about testing the application's performance, like how the application is responding under the expected load, how the application is responding under the expected load. If you see, load test ensures that the application under test is stable and can handle expected load once the application is deployed. So what is the main importance of performance load testing? Why do we go with load test? Load test is all about testing the application's performance or how it is responding under some load. Okay, so what is that load? Load is nothing but number of users. Now who is giving this number of users? For example, I have to execute a load test with 500 users. Now who is giving this 500 number to us? So generally, this 500 number will be given by the business analyst or the application team or the client. Okay, so based on the input we get, so based on that number, we perform the load test with those number of users. Okay, so this is very simple. And one more thing is this: any load test will run for 1 hour. Any load test will run for 1 hour, steady state of 1 hour. So I'll explain you what is steady state and all those things in our upcoming sessions, but just remember that the load test will be executed for 1 hour. And load test is all about testing the application for its performance, like how fast the application is responding, testing the application for its speed. Okay, and with expected load. Who is giving that load, that number? Either business analyst or application team or the client itself. Okay, now the term speed, whatever we have discussed few minutes ago, the term speed can be related to this load test, okay. In speed also I have told you, like how fast the application is responding under some expected load. The same thing is all about the load test. Okay, so now the term speed you can relate to this load test here. Okay, this test is done for 1 hour. Then the next one is stress test. So stress test is conducted by increasing the user load gradually until the application breaks. Okay, I'll give you one example. So let's say that there is a restaurant. Okay, there is a restaurant, and there are 5 tables. There are 5 tables. Okay, and there is a waiter or a helper or whoever it is. Okay, so there is one waiter or helper or or server who is helping the customers to in taking the order and serving the food. Okay, now in the restaurant there are 5 tables, and there is one helper, who is taking the orders and serving the food. Okay, now all the 5 tables are full. Okay, all the 5 tables are full, and the owner of the restaurant thought, like, the number of customers are increasing day by day. Why not increase the number of tables? So he increased the number of tables from 5 to 8. 5 to 8. Now this particular helper, he is still able to manage to take the orders from all those 8 tables and then serve the food. Okay, take the orders and then serve the food. Now the restaurant owner, he now what he did, he increased the tables from 8 to 11. 8 to 11. Let's assume that he increased the tables from 8 to 11. Now this helper, he's still alone and he's still able to manage. He's still able to manage to take the orders from all 11 tables, but the amount of time in which he was serving the food is delayed. Now previously with 8 number of tables, he was serving the food with, let's say that in 15 to 20 minutes. Now he's taking more than half an hour. He's taking more than half an hour to serve 11 tables. Now why? Because the number of tables increased and the number of customers increased. Obviously the number of orders increased, and because of increase in number of orders, he is not able to deliver the food on time. Okay, he is getting delayed. Okay, he's getting delayed, like, like half an hour or 40 minutes is getting delayed. Now, okay, still the customers are full. The restaurant owner, what he thought is, he thought of increasing the number of tables. What did he do? He increased the tables from 8 to 11 to 15. 11 to 15. Now this helper who was taking the orders and who was delivering the food, now he is not able to manage. He's not able to manage. Okay, he said it's enough. I cannot handle all these 15 tables. Okay, so what is that we have to understand from this example is, the helper was max. He was able to manage only 11 tables. Okay, 11 tables. Okay, even though there is a slight delay in terms of performance, like in terms of delivering the food, he was able to manage 11 tables, but he could not manage 15 tables. No, he said no, it's done. It's done. So the max he could manage was 11 tables. Okay, now if you see this definition now, stress test is conducted by increasing the user load gradually until the application breaks. Until the application breaks. Okay, now we keep on gradually increasing the load until the application breaks, and the objective of this test is to obtain the breaking point or saturation point. What is the max that application can support? What is the max number of users the applications can support? Okay, we'll get that point. So once the breaking point is attained, so if once the max number of users are reached, then we'll see considerable amount of errors, and also increase in response times. Increase in response times, that means there will be a delay in response. Okay, sometimes the application might crash. Okay, so how do you increase the load? Like initially test with 500 users, increase to 800, 1200, 1500, 1600, something like that. Okay, so this is all about stress testing. So increase the load gradually until the application breaks, and see until what point the application is supporting or handling the load. Okay, and then we have something called endurance or soak test or duration test. Okay, so all the names are same. So in some projects they call it as endurance test, in some projects they call it as soak test, in some projects they call it as duration test. Okay, so what do you mean by that? So if you remember the word the word stability we have discussed few minutes ago, you can relate that word here, stability. So if it means that endurance test is all about testing the application for stability. Okay, testing the application for stability. That means the test can run for 3 hours, 5 hours, 8 hours, 1 day, 3 days, 5 days. Okay, why we have to run a particular test for performance test for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, or 5 hours or 8 hours? To ensure that the application is responding in the same way throughout the test. Like in the first 1 hour, if it is responding well and the response times are within SLA, and if it is responding within 2 seconds, it should respond in the same way throughout the test, like throughout the 5 hours or 3 hours or 8 hours or 1 day. Okay, the performance should not degrade. The performance should not degrade. Like in the first 1 hour, if it is responding in 2 seconds, in the last 1 hour, it should not, it cannot be like, 1 minute or 2 minutes. No, it should be the same. So the testing the application for longer duration is all about endurance test or soak test or duration test. Okay, it's testing the application for stability. Okay, the main purpose of this test is to identify the bottlenecks like memory leaks, etc. So right now I'm not going to stress much about memory leaks and all those things. Okay, so I'll explain you later point of time what is this memory leak, heap memory, and all those things. Okay, so you can ignore it, but just understand that we have to test the application for longer duration to ensure that to validate that application is responding in a similar way throughout the test. It could be a 3 hours, 5 hours, or 1 day, or whatever it is. Throughout the test, application should respond in a similar way. Okay, so and then comes the scalability test. Okay, so it's also pretty much simple. So just now we have few minutes ago we have discussed about this term scalability, right? So testing the application for future load. So let's say that today you are testing with 100 users. So and let's assume that the client said that I'm assuming a growth of 100% in next 1 year. That means your users number of users that that might access the application will be increased from 100 to 200 in next 1 year. So keeping that in mind, now only you test with 200 users. Now only you test with 200 users. Okay, now you see testing the application for future load. Test is performed using the user load considering the growth of application under test down the years. So current expected load is 500 users, assuming 50% growth in next 1 year. So the test will now be done with 750 users. Okay, so that's it. So this is all about scalability test. So in keeping the future growth in mind, so now only you test with future growth, the bigger number. Okay, and then we have the final one, that is a volume test, which is pretty much similar, or you can say or most similar to load test only. Everything is similar to load test except that the amount of data that is present in database will be different. Okay, it is pretty much similar to load test except that the amount of data present in database will be different. How? So for example, you currently have 1 lakh records in database. You see here, currently you have 1 lakh records in database. You have 1 lakh records in database, and you assuming that you use your application for next 2 to 3 years, and after 2 to 3 years your number of records in your database will be 4 lakhs. Okay, so keeping that in mind, now only we intentionally update or add all those 4 lakh data into database, or add all those 4 lakh data into records into database and test the application. That's it. And why it is important? To see any database performance issues. To see any database performance issues, like how the queries are running if we have so much of data in database. SQL queries, like we all might have learned, like in college or something, some practicals in some SQL sessions, like select star from employee, or all those queries we might have written, right? Some basic to advanced. So those queries, how those queries are responding if you have huge amount of data in the database. Okay, so this volume test is all about testing the application with huge amount of data in the database. So keeping future growth in mind, again keeping future database growth in mind, the number of records that might present in database in future. So that number of that number of records you will insert now only into database, and then test the application's performance, how the queries are running. Okay, so this is all about volume test. So these are the different types of tests that we perform. Okay, but the frequently what we test is we test load test, we do scalability, or we do endurance or soak test. Okay, these are the frequent ones. This stress test and this volume test and all these things are very rarely tested, depending on the requirement. Okay, so now this is all about performance types of performance testing. Now, in today's session, we have discussed about performance testing definition, and how it is measured in terms of speed, stability, and scalability, and how the performance testing environment should be present. Like, it should be exactly similar to the production environment, and the different types of performance testing. Okay, so this is all about today's session. If you have any questions, no, you can post all your questions now, not only related to today's session. If you have any generic questions about the performance testing, you can post, no problem. Any question, any generic question, no problem, you can ask. It could be related to course content, it could be related to the tool, or it could be related to any technical questions, like about performance testing and all those things. Maybe in next 1 or 2 days we'll start with practicals as well, the complete practical sessions. Okay, so any questions now?
Yes, I have one question.
Yeah, please.
Hey, can you go to the architecture? Have you shown that end user to performance testing application architecture? Yeah. So in this part, load balancer is there, right? Is it software or it is kind of network related?
See, actually, you can say it as a, you can say it's a piece of software, okay, or a program that is managed, or a kind of algorithm that is managed to distribute the load equally. Okay, there are
Which is
different load.
where is it that installed? Like it's supposed to be it is software
It's not.
means
It's
is it
not.
installed in web server part, other is installed in separate machine and what?
No, no, it's not installed in separate machine. It
Mm.
it can be installed. It can be installed in a web server machine itself. Because it's a piece of software, right? So it can be installed anywhere in the web server machine also. So
Mm.
what it does exactly is, its task is to equally distribute the load to the load to the app servers. So the main purpose of having that is to manage the load. So if they have n number of instances, like in this example I've just shown you, like two app servers, probably they might have 3 or 4 or 5 app servers also. So if they are having more number of app servers instances, the load should be equally distributed. If you are getting 1,000 requests from client, then the load should be equally distributed. So based on some algorithms, okay, so based on some algorithms, uh, the load will be equally distributed.
So the software load balancer pure related or software related part, like you say
Yeah,
the
software,
algorithm.
it's a kind of a technique. Yeah, it's a kind of a technique or algorithm. Like, the famous one, one second, the famous one, which generally they use, is kind of a round robin algorithm.
Round robin.
Yeah, round robin algorithm, and there are different kinds of algorithms are there. But it's always good to know what kind of algorithms, what are different algorithms, or what kind of algorithms that are being used in your projects. Okay, different applications follow different approaches.
Now,
But
who will
from,
give that information? Like a developer will give it, or architect
application
will
team,
give it? Application,
uh,
either BA.
application team will have an idea. Not all developers might have that information,
Mhm.
but there will be some contact person, within the development team, who has all the architecture. Or you can check with your solution architect, business solution architect. Okay, who designed this architecture, like, who designed that. Okay, this application should have this sort of architecture, and this sort of communication mechanism, or these technologies we might have to use. So you can check with the solution architect as well. Or if you have in anyone any contact person from application team or solution architect will give you the information on this.
Yeah, fine.
Second. Yeah, any other questions? You can post your questions in chat window. One second, I'm just going through the chat window once again. Uh, in production environment architecture, there are two side arrows. Will there be a backward flow also? Yes, actually, the flow will be something like this. So, so the request will come from from this in this direction, from client to web server, from web server to load balancer to app server to DB server, and then the response will also flow in the reverse direction as well. Because at the end, the response should be seen on the UI, right? So if you click on a button, or let's say that you entered username and password on the login page, you clicked on login button, you are able to see the home page, right? How? Because of the response that is sent by these database servers or app servers and web servers, because of the response sent back by these components, you are able to see that home page, okay, after login. So it's a bidirectional, so the response will definitely go back to the client. Okay, so we will understand about all these terminologies, like what is a server, what is app server, what is web server, what is database server, again in our upcoming sessions as well. So for guys coming from non-IT background, we will have one or two additional sessions on this to understand about the terms here. Okay, the terminologies, the performance testing terminologies. Okay, I'll let you know when is that session plan. Maybe maybe probably we might have around this weekend, couple of hours session. Okay, so that should make you comfortable in understanding all the terminologies of performance testing. Okay, so going forward also, we might have a different we might use different words or different terminologies related to performance testing. I'll add all those things in one document, and I'll explain you what are all those things and how it is related to performance testing. When do we expect to start using load runner? Maybe next couple of days, because tomorrow we have to understand, will be discussing about the architecture, like why architecture is important from performance tester perspective, why it is important to understand the software architecture. So if you don't understand the software architecture, you will never be able to identify the root cause of an application, root cause of an issue. For example, you entered some username and password. Okay, let's take your Gmail application. You entered your username and password and you clicked on sign in. You are able to sign in, but you are able to see the homepage after 2 minutes. Is that okay? No, right? So why it is slow? Why it is slow? What is happening when I clicked on sign in button? What exactly it is happening in the backend? What are the different components involved? So we have to understand everything. So if you understand the backend architecture of an application, it's very easy to identify the root cause. So that's the reason, from performance testing perspective, it's very very important that we understand the software architecture. So for that purpose, we have added a session tomorrow to understand what is architecture, what is entire architecture, what is a protocol, okay, and what is performance testing life cycle, and all these things. And then the day after tomorrow, we have one quick session on concept called workload modeling, and then after that we'll directly start practical sessions, or directly the scripting work will start, and it will continue for the next 2 to 3 weeks, because the main important thing is all about practicals, right? So the first 3 4 sessions are only theoretical, and then there will be no theoretical sessions at all. Everything will be practical sessions only. Okay, any other questions? Can we download the app before we start? See, do you mean, what do you mean by app? Do you mean the application that we will be learning, or that will be working on, or the software, that the load runner software? Oh, the load runner. Okay, no problem. This load runner software, I will help you how to install it. Okay. So because we have a couple of one or two theoretical sessions, right, tomorrow, to understand the important topics, very important topics actually. I will not say it as simple things or what. It's very important from interview perspective also. The topics which we'll be discussing tomorrow and day after. But after that, when we start working on practicals, right? Before that, I'll help you in downloading or installation of the software, and I'll guide you. Okay, before we actually start the practical session. What is the main difference between load test and volume test? See, both are pretty much same, Srivani, but the only difference is from the application, you have in the application database server, you have huge amount of data, right? So let's say after 3-4 years, you might have some, like 2 to 3 lakh records getting added in your database. Now, keeping that in mind, now only we intentionally insert some those 3 lakh to 3 lakh records into database with the help of DBA. With the help of DBA, okay, I'm just stressing this point. From performance testing perspective, we cannot insert any data into database. No, we have only read only access mostly. We cannot insert any data, so we have to take the help of the database administrator. So he will guide, he will do that task on behalf of us by adding 2 to 3 lakhs of data now. Now, when we add that amount of data, we'll see how these queries are running or how the application is performing. Okay, what are the response times when we add a huge amount of data into database? That is all about volume test. Mahesh, LoadRunner is actually a paid tool. So in paid in sense, for example, if you want to practice in your laptop, so it's okay. You can practice scripting, and you can execute scripts to an extent, to some extent. But what is a limitation here is, if you want to test your application with 5,000 users, 2,000 users, 3,000 users like that, you will not have access. I think you will have access only to test up to 50 users if you're downloading it. Okay, the free one. Downloading the free one, you will be having access to test only with 50 users with the free version. If you want to test with beyond more than 50 users, you have to purchase the license. Any company already having LoadRunner license, depending on the number of users, okay, depending on the number of users, they will have the license. So if you are working on any company, in any company, they might have already purchased a license for 10,000 users or 5,000 users, something like that. So you can directly go ahead and run those tests. But if you want to test in your local, I think it will not allow more than 50, because your laptop should also support, right? So let's assume that Micro Focus or the company is giving is allowing you to test with 500 users. The further testing with 500 users, your laptop configuration should support, right? In your local, the RAM and the CPU, okay, the processor, it should support, right? If it is very less configuration, your application will hang or it will crash, or in fact, because of this more CPU utilization, all those things. So that's the reason. Well, that is one reason why we are not allowed to test with more than 50 users. It's there since long time. Like the same rule is there since long time with this tool. You cannot test beyond 50 in your free version. Okay. Any other questions? It need not be specific to today's session only. Generic. If you have any questions with the course content or with the timings or with the number of classes, or any of these things, or what kind of support you are expecting from me. I clearly told you, the guys who are coming from non-IT background, I'll take some additional sessions to make them familiar with the terminologies and make them understand the tool. And whoever is facing some issues with respect to practicals and all, I'll take some additional sessions for them. Or in fact, anyone can join. But in the recent batches, I've seen like a couple of non-IT guys taking little bit more time to understand. Then I'm here to support them for some additional time, no problem. Is there any difference in testing for 50 users and more than 50 users? No, from our perspective, there is no difference. The script is same. the settings is same, everything is same, but only thing is you'll test with more number of users. And what will happen? What will happen if you test with more number of users? The chances of getting some issues or some some issues is more, right? If you keep on increasing the number of users, the chances of getting issues is more. That's it. So what is our requirement? We have to focus on that. What is the client asking us to do? Is the client asking us to test with 100 users? We have to test with 100 users. Client is asking to test with 100 users, and we cannot test with 2. We cannot test with 20 or 30. We have to test with 100 minimum. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. If you have any further questions after this session, you can ping in the WhatsApp group, or if it is some technical question, you can call me directly. If it is a question related to a course content or fees or whatever it is, you can ping in the WhatsApp group, or you can ping Kumar Gupta sir directly. Okay. Or you can ping Anita ma'am. Okay. No problem. So thank you for joining this session. And I hope to see all of you joining the upcoming sessions as well. Okay. Thank you once again.
Thank you.